Welcome back to another episode of the 5-Minute Major Podcast of STL. We are proud to have the coach leading the Lindenwood ice hockey team into a new era. Welcome, Coach Keith Fisher, to the pod, guys. Welcome, Coach. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we were really excited when we had the shot to have you on, and we really want to talk some hockey and kind of pick your brain about this new era at Lindenwood. But for those who don't really know your background, kind of lead off there. Looks like you got about 25 years into coaching. And 13 years of that was at Penn State, and you have quite the resume at Penn State. So tell us a little bit about your adventure in hockey and what kind of got you into coaching.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to my days growing up in Minnesota, hockey mad state up there. So hockey's kind of in everybody's blood up there. I was going to go off and play junior hockey, but I tore my ACL playing football. So that kind of ruined that aspirations a little bit. But the good thing is I got into coaching then. I went to St. Cloud State and became a student coach there and helped them out. And we had a lot of great teams. Made the NCAA tournament in my 2 years there, or 3 years, sorry, as a coach. With that opportunity, I got to go coach the Omaha Lancers. And that was the best experience that I've had coaching in my life. I still have a lot of great friends in the Omaha area. But at the junior level, you get to do everything, which is awesome. You're part of everything. And, I was a 23-year-old assistant coach, not knowing what I was doing from northern Minnesota, and the world was spinning fast, and you got to figure it out, some things out. But had a great time, a lot of great players. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Jan Stasny, Paul Stasny, guys like that we were able to coach in Omaha, and had a lot of great teams that led me into the opportunity at Princeton. Now, Princeton at the time, and actually Coach Godowski got there 1 year before I got there, but was probably the worst team in the country. So that was a full rebuild, and kind of an opportunity to again build a foundation to a school that was kind of lost in hockey at the time. And we went on to win an ECAC championship, Ivy League championship, made 2 NCAA tournaments. Princeton had never made an NCAA tournament as a large team, and we did that, which led to the opportunity at Penn State the last 13 years. And that's very similar to what we're going through here at Lindenwood, transitioning from ACHA to Division I level, and we did coach 1 year of club hockey at Penn State before we transitioned to Division I level. Then we were independent for 2 years and then jumped right into the Big Ten, so that's jumping into the deep end of the pool.
You jumped into the deep end for sure.
A lot of great teams, but you know what? Those building years, those are some of the most rewarding years that you have, to be able to put your stamp on a program. And like I said, building that foundation is so huge. And I know a lot of those players are so excited about where the program is, but they feel a lot of ownership in it, because they're the guys that got us to that level. I remember actually a St. Louis boy, David Goodwin. He was a 100-point player for us. He was a captain of our first Big Ten championship team. And when I brought him on his recruiting visit, we were in like a 10-by-10 box, because Pagula Ice Arena wasn't built yet. So we went on like this 3D virtual tour in a box. And I was like, just envision this, what it's going to be. So we sold kids on a dream. The rink wasn't even built yet, on what it could be. And, it's amazing that David Goodwin went from seeing Pagula in a box on a 3D tour to winning a Big Ten championship, and those guys had a lot to do with us, winning another Big Ten championship and, being in the Frozen Four in St. Louis this year. So that's a rewarding part of building the program. And, when I went through it at Penn State, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do that again. And then I see this opportunity here at Linden, and I'm like, it's pretty fun to put your stamp on something and, get a group to pull the rope the same way and play as a team and do things the right way. That's what's really, really rewarding about this. And that's what's so exciting about this opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know when Lindenwood put out the video from your press conference, that was like the biggest thing I took away is your dedication to building programs and building it from the roots. And I think that for a hockey fan, I was the most excited about because Lindenwood needed that guy that has been there, done that in a way, but also you're such a player first mentality where there was a quote where you said, your biggest goal is growing better men through hockey in other words though. And that right there, if that doesn't make Lindenwood fans excited, I don't know what will, because I think hockey's such a powerful sport, but it's one that when we talk to Reed Lowe, just hockey is just another way that you can grow in the world as a man and take it in so many different directions. And I think that's going to be awesome for Lindenwood. And I'm excited to see kind of what your plan is. Like, what is your your goal for this season per se for this program? What's like one of your top goals you think that you have?
Honestly, it's, I told our team from day one is to be great teammates. That's my goal. To be great teammates. And it was kind of interesting going through the interview process. I don't talk about wins and losses. I don't talk about wins. I talk about getting a team on the same page and developing young men and wanting them to be better husbands and fathers and teammates. And that's what we're doing here. I understand our job is to win hockey games, but if you're able to do those things and develop young men, the wins are going to come. I think it goes hand in hand. If you're a good student, you're responsible away from the ice, you're responsible socially, you're going to make better decisions off the ice, which we can hold you accountable for. You're going to make better decisions on the ice, and those two things correlate. And it was funny going through the interview process with Mr. Coomer here. He goes, "How come you never talk about winning? You've won a lot of games." I'm like, that takes care of itself. If you do all the little things, you're going to win hockey games. So our focus here is, doing the right thing, being a great teammate, and pulling for each other. And if you do those things, it's going to correlate to success on the ice.
I think that's why you're praised for, your leadership and your recruiting ability, and you just you showcase such like proper coaching on top of being a great person, and like you said, that should translate on the ice. Like, it's the team sport of all team sports, seriously, and when you're a family, it makes a difference. What areas of the team have kind of shown some growth just from like the few months you've been here from last season? Do you see anything that might have already improved, or what you're looking forward to improve with this first season?
Well, we have, I think, 16 new players this year. So over half
Guys brought
the
on
team
new.
is new players. So I told them from day one, I'm not going to do a ton of video work on you. I don't care what happened last year. I don't care where you played. My evaluation of you is going to be when we hit the ice it was actually in October, end of August. That's when my evaluation is going to start. I don't care what you've done in the past. So everybody's on a clean slate here. And we did a kind of a mental toughness test today, and I was really impressed with the guys on how they handled it. And I think the guys bring great energy every day. They've worked really hard. We're going to put more concepts in as we go here. We got, I think, 3 or 4 weeks until we play yet, so we got some time, and we're just going to keep building. Before we hit, some full ice 5-on-5 stuff. We haven't even done too much of that yet, but we'll build up that and kind of get the systems of how we want to play. I never want to handcuff these guys on this. We want to undercoach a little bit. Let them make plays. Let them make reads. They got to be hockey players. Hockey is a quick reactionary sport. I don't want guys thinking. They got to go and react and make plays, and that's when guys, I found in the past, that's when guys play their best, when they're just free thinking, go make plays, have some fun, and that's what guys want to do.
Yeah, that's out of 16 players is a lot of new guys to bring into a team. Has anyone to this point kind of like stuck out as a guy that is stepped up as a leader in the locker room, or someone that you kind of feel like I know it's a loaded question, a hard one, but like anyone stepping up right now for you so far.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to say. I mean, a lot of the returning guys have talked about how excited they are for this season. Um, it's nice that we have the Independent Cup here hosted in
Yeah.
St. Louis at the end of the season. So that gives us some goal at the end of the season and a championship that we can win. And it was nice talking to a lot of the older guys or returning guys, how excited they are and how they want to win that championship. So it's nice to have that carrot at the end of the year to win and to keep building to. Um, but I told them we're not going to vote on captains for a while.
Yeah.
I think that's unfair to the group. Um, you know, they ultimately have to follow the captain that they pick. And with so many new guys, I don't think it's fair to choose somebody so early in the season.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that builds a team leadership mentality more than just a focused individual. And I think that's good when you're kind of growing a program, that you're looking for the team to lead and not just one guy in that way.
Yeah, and I think a big part of leadership too is being a great follower.
Yeah.
I was doing the right thing, and it is nice to have a couple of voices that will speak for the group that will come to me with some issues. Hey, coach, we don't like this. Can we change that? And that's fine. I understand that leadership, and it's nice. We can't be with the guys and supervise them 24 hours a day. So we need some leaders away from the rink as well.
Yep.
And but it is nice, I think, to have all individual leaders to, they each got to pull the rope the same way. And so it's nice to have a couple of voices, but everybody's got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Based on your career path and stuff like that, do you have a list of specific challenges that you've faced from transitioning, like your players to compete at a higher level from Penn State and before? Or is each task kind of new depending on the players and the competition?
Yeah, each task is different, but going into it is similar. So like when we took the club hockey program over at Penn State, all of the guys were so excited to play Division I hockey. So you kind of have their attention. And I think we got the attention of the guys here, and I think we've been working really hard, and I've been impressed with them. I think we've only been on the ice 4 or 5 days here, but I've been impressed with the group so far. But we need to execute at a higher level. We need to play at a higher pace, and we haven't put a little bit harder concepts in too. It's easy to, everybody looks good when it's 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 or free flowing ice. When the ice shrinks a little bit, then stuff changes. So still going along with the evaluation process, but I have been impressed with the group so far because I think they've been really motivated. I think they came in great shape, and they've been embracing what I'm trying to teach early on, which has been great.
Yeah. I think looking at developing and building a program, how has the journey and the process of like recruiting? Because I know you kind of hit the ground running, but what does like a recruiting process for you as a coach look like? Just so we can kind of explore that world of coaching as well, because it's so much to building a program is bringing in the players as well.
Yeah, and I've been recruiting's been my main focus for probably 25 years, so I have a good feel for the recruiting pool out there. And I'm still going to be very involved in recruiting because I know how important it is to a program. I know how important it is to be the head coach and be involved in recruiting. So I want to be very involved with that, knowing I'm not going to be doing that as much day to day, but still be very involved with that. But when you talk about recruiting to Lindenwood, you talk about opportunity. I think the opportunity is awesome here, and the opportunity is to be the first NHLer to come out of Lindenwood.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to be. It's going to happen, and to be that guy will be special, and you will always be remembered in this program. And we are going to have NHL draft picks. We're going to have NHL players, and to be that first will be really special. But we have a lot of opportunity here for guys to come in and showcase their ability to pro scouts. And that's that's a recruiting pitch right now. And I feel comfortable with how we're going to play and our style and how we develop kids, or how I've developed kids in the past, that we're going to be able to get them to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably had a hand in getting Gavin McKenna over to Penn State. I know that's been the big talk of these predominant top end prospects coming to the NCAA. What benefits do you think the players get from playing in the NCAA versus some of these junior leagues? I think it's great competition more than people understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's comparing apples and oranges, in my opinion. I've been involved with the NCAA game, for the last, almost 20 years, and I just look at our development model as so much superior to what it is playing junior hockey. I mean, just with our schedule, our day-to-day schedule, we don't play a game until October. They're already playing exhibition games. They don't have as much practice time. They don't have as much time to work out and get bigger and stronger. And I think that's the most important thing for a kid to be 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. You got to develop your body. I think number one, if you want to play in the NHL, that's a hard league. It's a long season. You really got to develop your body. So being in the weight room 3 or 4 days a week is really, really beneficial. And then only playing 2 games a week, I think that is huge. Because those games are really important. I think the intensity is really high. I think the competition in college hockey is unbelievable right now, and anybody can beat anybody on any night. So having that, game in, game out competition, I think is huge. And just playing against bigger and stronger men, I think it's important. And I also go back to you're living on your own for the first time. You got to make decisions for your first time. You got to go to class. You got to show up to class. There's a lot of growth, not only hockey-wise, but just in life in general. I think it teaches you a lot of life lessons that'll help translate you when you go to the NHL.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big part about, even like just in high school, like they label it college preparatory high schools. It's the same for college to the next level. How do you kind of balance like having the players compete at a high level and then growing on that side of life academically and personally? Does it have anything to do with like your coaching style, like, or is it just more of a personal relationship between the players?
I think it's both. I think you have to have a good relationship with kids nowadays. And, when I met with all the kids, a couple weeks ago, I want to know what their majors are. I want to know where they're from. I want to know about them. I think that's a cool part of, being on a team and coaching a team. I have kids from all over North America here. I want to know, they have different backgrounds. They came from different teams. I want to know what they liked on their team before, or what they didn't like. You kind of got to know what to make them tick. So you have to have a great relationship, with your kids. But, I know one kid came in and says, I know you're big on academics. Well, yeah, I am. I think you're in college. You should be going to school and you should do very well. I think that's why we're here. We want kids to get an education. Yes, we want to develop them for the National Hockey League, but your education is going to serve you probably more than your NHL career will. So, and I think as long as the guys know that you care, that they're doing well, they're going to put in a little extra effort, not only in the classroom, but hopefully socially as well, to try to make the right decisions, and that translates on the ice as well.
I was going to say, I think from listening to every coach and the programs you've been at, I think that speaks to who you are as a person. And I think that's why I think you were such a great fit for here at Lindenwood, is because you value those connections. And I think building a program, those connections are what build the foundation. And I think that's how you convince players to come play for you. And I think that's why you did so well at Penn State. And I think for me, it's amazing that you lasted this long as an assistant coach and you weren't leading your own team. I think that looking at your track record, looking at your resume, it's amazing that it was 13 years of it being an assistant coach, and you weren't running your own program. And I think this is the cool part and why I'm excited to see you take Lindenwood to this next level. What along your way did you have other offers to be a head coach at other teams, or did you really just want to ride it out and help build that strong foundation at Penn State?
Kind of both. I mean, there were some opportunities I looked at that I was interested in, probably other opportunities that I didn't look at that I should have looked at. So it's whatever. I was in a great situation with my family. So that was really hard to leave this time. But I just thought this was such a great opportunity. It was one I couldn't turn down, and it was just I just thought this was the right opportunity. And you can't be choosy on them. You can't sit and wait. But like you talked about, or we were small talking earlier, like the growth of Lindenwood as a university in the last 20 years has been incredible. And with the whole athletic department going Division I now, and I just think there's so much momentum here that you could build this thing into something pretty special.
Yeah. My next kind of follow up is that with the St. Louis community, did you know much about the St. Louis community in hockey? Because I feel like we're kind of a hidden gem in a lot of ways, and we're starting to see that with the Kachuk boys that have gone on. And you talked about Goodwin, who played for you at Penn State. Do you feel like St. Louis is almost like an untapped market of some hockey potential?
I can't say it's untapped. I mean, the players that are coming here is crazy. And like I've been coaching junior hockey and college hockey for almost 25 years now, and I've almost had a kid from St. Louis on I bet you 15 of the teams I've coached. So,
which is good.
I don't think it's a hidden gem at all. But the one thing you look at is like the St. Louis Blues alumni. How many guys retire here? And from a family standpoint, I think this is a big time, town. And the hockey is great. People love their hockey. Being here for the Frozen Four this past year, the sport that the town of St. Louis, and they put on a great show for the teams. But just I don't think it's a hidden gem at all. I was lucky enough to go to the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame banquet at the end of August, and it was nice. I coached Paul Stasny in Omaha, and he was inducted, so it was pretty special to see him get inducted. But that was a big time event. I was blown away how I knew St. Louis hockey was supported well, but I go to this event and it was incredible. But just to see all the alumni come back, and not only Blues alumni, but other NHL alumni, that were there, and other guys that have just played college hockey around the country that ended up in St. Louis, or whether they played junior hockey here, grew up here, or end up in this area. Like there's a lot of hockey in this area, and they love hockey. And talking to all of them, they can't wait to see the Lindenwood program grow.
Yeah, that's just it. It just shows how amazing the city is. We always advocate for us, for ourselves, because I feel like no one talks about our fan base. I mean, obviously they know about the NHL team, but in the Kachuk brothers, but there's the deep roots of hockey in St. Louis are not shown as well as other cities. But like, how important is it for like a local fan base to support their college team for you? Like, was Penn State just like somehow, did they just become like the biggest fan base when they turned D1? And I guess Pennsylvania is a pretty, Northeast market, so they know hockey up there for sure. But like, how important is it to you and the players for maybe building some momentum and kind of pushing the program to the next level?
I think it's really important. I think, getting students here is going to be big. And I think we're going to do some things this year that we're going to try to get more students to our games here. But I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, Centene actually hosted an NCAA regional in Michigan. Michigan State ended up playing in that regional final. And the crowds that they had were amazing. I know they were scalping tickets out back for, $500. But, that's the potential that Lindenwood hockey could have here. It's a perfect size. It's a beautiful building. It's great to watch college hockey, and you're right on top of the action. But we need local people to support it,
Yeah.
and we need the students of Lindenwood to support it. And I think I think the product that we're going to have and the teams that we're going to be playing, I think people should be banging down the doors to get tickets. I think it's really exciting. It's you're right on top of the action. Our price point's a little bit better than Blues games, so to get enough family for in here will be better. So people love their hockey around here. So we're hoping to fill up Centene for all of our games this year.
Yeah, don't you worry. We will be in attendance this year for some games. I'm excited to come home and catch a couple games. But kind of segue into more of just some fun topics. So since you've been in St. Louis, where has been your favorite place you've gone out to eat? Because, St. Louis people, we love our Italian food, but where have you gone that you've loved so far?
I have not been to the Hill yet, and I hear that's the
Oh,
place to go.
you got to
So I
get
haven't
there.
done that. That's an interesting question. Maybe we hit just a random. I went to Whitmore Country Club to eat one night.
Yep.
That was pretty good. Napoli 3 for lunch was pretty good.
Super
Actually,
good.
I think Salt and Smoke
Yeah.
was excellent. That one might be my favorite so far. Salt and Smoke.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're definitely gonna have to get down to the Hill.
That's,
Let me
that's
tell
what I
you,
hear. That's
you
what
got
I
to
hear.
get those toasted ravs. We're crazy about our toasted ravs in this
Yep.
city. I know you talked about having your family with you. Tell us a little bit about your family, because I know you're a big family man, and I think that's important that our fan base knows that about you.
Yeah, it's moving our family here. We didn't get here till beginning of August, and then school started early, which was actually good. So we were only in our house for about a week, and then I have 11-year-old, 9-year-old daughters, so they started school right away, and I've been really proud of them for how they've transitioned to
Good.
the school, and kind of took things in stride, and wasn't happy about moving right away, but took things in stride, and they've assimilated themselves to school right away, and they've done a great job in getting involved with other activities, and kind of making new friends right away. And it's incredible that the technology now that they can still talk to their friends back home and stay college too, which is incredible. So I've been really happy with them. My wife's been working extremely hard getting the house settled and making it feel like home. So a lot of work's gone into it, this past month that we've been here. So we haven't been out to eat a ton, but the family's been very, very supportive. I can't thank them enough.
No, I don't blame you. We'll kind of finish it up with one little question here. So, with your time of coaching, what are your top 2 favorite moments or top 3 favorite moments in your coaching career?
Well, you always go. Your number one reason you coach is your relationship with your players. Going back to a couple weddings and seeing all the guys, or a golf tournament, and those are the most rewarding days to see them. But I look at on the ice, possibly, probably my first year in Omaha, winning a national championship, was pretty special. Then probably making it to the Frozen Four at Penn State, taking that next step there as a program. But all the championship years are special. But like I said, the number one thing is when you get to see, you go to somebody's wedding and see all the guys, or see how they're doing in their careers, and you get excited how many kids they have, and that's what gets you pumped up. But obviously the championship years do as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we cannot thank you enough for coming on and giving us an opportunity to have you on. And for those of you who don't follow Lindenwood Hockey that listen to us, guys, give them a follow. It's going to be a great, exciting season, and we're definitely going to be in the stands cheering you guys on this year. So, Coach Fisher, we cannot thank you enough, and let's go win some games this year. I'm excited for you guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome here to the 5-Minute Major podcast of STL, presented by Across the Board. Yes, that's right. We are now partnered with Across the Board Handcrafted Unique Entertainment, which is a one-of-a-kind St. Louis-based company that creates some of the best games in the country. They have games ranging from horse racing to NASCAR, baseball to hockey. Across the board provides quality entertainment for all ages. Here's one of their penny hockey games that we were able to partner with them on. So it has our logo, which is super cool. You can play this game at home. You can display it in your man cave. There's so many different potentials that you can do with these games. But you should check them out, guys.
We couldn't be happier to have Kim McDaniel and her company on as a sponsor or partner. Her and her husband started this company from their garage 17 years ago, and it's blossomed into something so cool and amazing. You will learn lots more about them, so please stay tuned and make sure to check their links in the description below to know more about the McDaniel story and across the board.